That was when AJ realized he had nothing to talk about for the live stream. Who am I kidding? I've got tons to talk about. The inevitable awkward start of the live stream. I know I could talk about orange dragons and the reason why I reckon that their breath weapon is one of the worst in the game. Oh, I'm late. Crikey. Nobody's here. Axe poison. Hey Trey, how's it going? Hello. Hey. Yeah. So what would everybody like to talk about today in the world of Dungeons and Dragons? It's something I'd love to talk about, which unfortunately I can't. But those of you who know, special shout out to Jeff from the link he gave me this morning, and those of you who I've shared it with. Yeah, say no more. I pride myself in having a lot of resources that I can draw on to make videos about old school monsters and things like that, and reference old materials and things. That has gotten better, so I can bring you a lot of really cool stuff. Ah, these are old notes on the Will-O-Wisp. I don't need these anymore. Actually, I might need the one on the Bodak. Popcorn Dragon's breath weapon. Yeah, no, the orange dragon. If you don't want any spoilers for the video, I can not talk about it, but it's pretty cool. Basically, it's a sodium dragon, so it spits an oil-covered stream of pure sodium at people. And if you know anything about chemistry or what sodium does in contact with the air, moisture, it's burny and explosive. So yeah. Thanks, man. How would you know? I never dungeon master anybody online anymore. I do actually have a game that I ran a long time ago, like a couple of years ago, on as a playlist that I've opened up for other people to watch in case they want to see me actually DMing a game. That was a pretty loose game, though not as loose as the ones that I played I ran for Palladium. For Heroes Unlimited, or my version of Heroes Unlimited, based on the Tick comic. I had a couple of those. Those were really, really funny, namely because some people didn't even roll dice the entire time. So if anybody's got any questions or anything like that to sort of kick me off talking, Axe poison. Yeah, just let me know if you've got any questions, or if you want to talk about your campaigns and stuff, or have me talk about mine. We just finished the Haunted Halls of Evening Star, the actual dungeon map itself. It's funny actually, because that adventure, there's not a lot of story involved in the Haunted Halls of Evening Star. It's really just a dungeon crawl. So that was kind of interesting. And I wonder if a lot of the old school D&D modules from 2nd edition are going to be like that. I had a look at some of the other modules. Probably 4 from Cormier is the next logical step in from there if you're running in Cormier. Hi everyone at the Discord. Yeah, I should probably boot up Discord. Say hi to everybody. There's a thread, a message board on the Discord, which the elves only Discord channel, and it's kind of funny because everybody hates on elves in it pretty much constantly. I'm the only one who like stands up for the elves. Oh crikey. Yes, Jada, I'm going to stream in a couple of hours. Don't feel afraid to do a one shot in the rooms at any time though. Thanks for spreading the word, Rusty Spurs. Oh, that's a good question. Can the upper levels of psychic power ever reach the strongest magic has to offer, or is magic simply superior in the end? Oh, that's a very deep lore question. So magic at its highest could levitate mountains and reshape worlds. So but it is the manipulation of reality through the will. Let's not forget. So that power's got to come from somewhere. That change has got to come from somewhere. Does it draw on arcane forces? Does it draw on greater gods? Because the gods are the ones who are changing things, and primordials are the ones who created the worlds in the first place. So I'd say that as forces of will go, the primordials can change things just by being able to merge with reality itself and manipulate it as they see fit. They are the primordial forces of elemental power and stuff. Then the gods are the force of mind, so their thoughts and beliefs channeled and made manifest through the astral plane, the plane of dreams and things. So in a way, that's the sort of upper reaches of psychic stuff. Clerics and things like that have faith in the powers channeling through them. So they're all, in a way, they're almost like psychic sorcerers that draw on the mind of a being that can change reality, divine morphism as they call it. And then you've got the actual people who are channeling the spells and things and stuff. And scions can be pretty powerful, but the game has always put a sort of an end cap on that. If you wanted to change that, of course you could, but you'd probably want to introduce something like a god of psionicism, kind of like Mistra put a limit on spells to an uppermost level of 9 or something like that. So maybe there'd be a god that would limit psychic power. And of course, there's the Far Realm as well, which complicates things enormously, because with great psychic power comes physical corruption as well, which is actually an overriding theme in a lot of popular culture stuff, like Akira, for instance. There's too much psychic power, and to the point where it actually warps your flesh and you become this great big hideous monster thing. Nuking the elves. Will it never end? Oh, you don't? Okay, I'll send a notification to the entire Discord. Well, can I? At everyone. At everyone. Live streaming. There we go. Birthright lore, maybe. Maybe. Yeah, I've just come into a lot more material that I can read through, particularly on older edition stuff. Very complete records, so that's going to help things a lot. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't have access to that I couldn't tell anybody about because I've never read it. Yeah. You ever run a BECMI campaign? What is BECMI? I am thinking about running the game itself. Any tips are useful used to running 5th and have run BECMI before. But I want to make sure it's at its best possible. Psychers, bad things happen to Psychers, yeah. The warp. Warhammer 40k, perfect example. BECMI. Beyond Elemental? No. Again, yeah, you're gonna have to tell me what that is. I can't think of offhand. So has anybody run 4 from Cormier, the old 2nd edition adventure? Or set of adventures? Basic edition D&D, the red box. Is that what BEC? Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I have, because that's what I started with. Just have fun with it. Play it as written, really. You can bring in the additional sets like companion and the master sets if you want, or just or immortal, or basically use the rules encyclopedia. The rules encyclopedia has got all of those additions of information in there. And yeah, we played a little bit of basic, but we pretty much moved straight into AD&D. Yeah, I was mainly messing around with basic with myself and one other friend. Right. Mystara is the adventure setting where those books are. That's the world of basic D&D, Mystara. So if you can find old adventures based in Mystara, then that's essentially what basic is set up for playing. Palace of the Silver Princess. Nice. Is that set in Cormier? As far as I know, the only adventures that are set in Cormier are Haunted Halls of Evening Star, Fall from Cormier, and that level 18 one, 18 to 20, which is an absolute grindhouse. Hi, David S. Where did the confetti come from? Des. If you have different names from who you are on the Discord server, then I won't know who you are, unfortunately. So we're rapidly encroaching on the 20,000 subscriber mark, which is going a lot faster than I thought it was, considering it was quite a crawl from 18,000 to 19,000. So I may actually be caught a little bit short on the sculpture of the Mind Flayer head for the award. Or it may leave the person who wins the competition, because I'll draw it as soon as I hit 20,000. They may actually choose something else. It's entirely up to them. I'll sculpt anything they want. Silver Princess is set. Well, I can find out since I have the magic of the internet. Let's see. Let's see. Dungeons & Dragons. First of all, is it second edition? So many to choose from. I should really set these up by their levels. Organize them a little bit. Wow, there's heaps of adventures for Mystara. Night of the Vampire, Mark of Amber, Kingdom of Adventure of Karamikos. Tons. Heaps. Sculpture, you sculpting a sculpture. Nobody needs to see that. I also can't really sculpt. I probably could sculpt a real life thing, but I prefer to do fantasy stuff. That's what I'm good at. I've given up on trying to do life sculpture because why? Everybody does that. Not everybody can do a really good monster though. Don't we all have the magic of the internet? Fairies do my internet bidding. That's true. Pixies. Special pixies. Oh, crikey. Yeah, but I've got to get onto that sculpture pretty quick. I am pretty confident that I can churn it out in, say, a week or so if I do a really good job. Unlike my drawing, which is capable but woefully slow. It takes me a lot of effort to do it, strangely enough. It's like mental effort. But sculpture, once I get into the zone and I'm working on it, I can whip stuff out really quickly. I've just always been that way. What are you testing, David? You got two? Did you log out and log back in again with a different account? You must have. It's the same profile picture. Okay. What D&D setting do you think is the most underrated, and why do you think it is so underrated? Oh, well, it'd have to be Narath, wouldn't it? It'd have to be Narath for 4th edition, because nobody plays it, because nobody plays 4th edition anymore. Well, there's a few people, probably about as many people as play Pathfinder still. Ooh. But Narath, yeah, with the Empire of Ecosia and the Tieflings of Baal-Tarath, was actually a really good setting. And a lot of the lore from the Dawn War, which everybody quite enjoyed, that's all 4th edition stuff, particularly the Quam and the Living Gate, Lakau, a lot of stuff like that. And I did a lot actually for the cosmology of D&D, a lot of big picture stuff, and probably didn't concentrate as much on the small picture stuff because they wanted people to come up with their own homebrew ideas and things. They were trying out the idea of people just running their own games with the basic rules and things that they had. Tons of adventures from Mystara. Recently found a guy called Mr. Welch on YouTube who does a lot of reviews of the old Mystara modules and setting info. Oh great, shoot me a link for that, Fudgy Wudgy Bears. Fudgy Wudgy Bars. There we go. Hey, there we go. That's better. Do all the different settings have their own astral plane, or do they all share the same one? I know Greyhawk and the Realms have near the same one, so are they the same or not? They are the same, yes. They all have different parallel planes, so they have different Shadowfells and different Feywilds, as I mentioned, but they all have the same cosmic planes. As far as I know. I've got a little question. Thanks. I know the Pixie Cyber Hacker for D20 modern game almost as bad as a Turtle Sumo Monk. Turtle Sumo Monk is not so bad. It's better than D20 modern. I never really got into that game. Yes. The astral plane is everyone's astral plane, that's true. The realm of dreams, which is why, in many ways, you can have an astral plane which is slightly out of kink with the material plane, because it's incorporating ideas from lots of different realms, lots of different worlds. Tucker's Kobolds. I'm not that familiar with Tucker's Kobolds. Hang on. Let's use the internet again. Tucker's Kobolds. Well, Roger the E. Moore. This month the editorials about Tucker's Kobolds. We get letters on occasionally asking for advice on creating high-level AD&D game adventures. Tucker's Kobolds seem to fit the bill. Tucker's Kobolds in 5th edition. We've got some conversions going on. It must be good. Oh, so that's from Dragon 127. That's it? There's got to be more. Obviously, I'm going to have to look in the Dragon for that. Here you go. This is a sneak peek of how I look for stuff. Dungeon and Dragon magazines. Dragon 127. Whoa. So many dragons. No, that wasn't one dragon. That wasn't Dragon 127. That was ages ago. Must have been a very modern one. Article number 127. 127's got the ecology of the Yeti. Never mind. I'll look it up later. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. As the short answer. Tucker's got like a dwarf fortress, tantrum spy. Oh, okay. Cool. Like gully dwarves? So like more advanced kobolds? I do have a penchant for running kobolds as particularly nasty little guys. What's your favourite caster class? Probably the warlock. Definitely the warlock, actually. Wizards are great though. I like the idea that wizards have a community that they're a part of. Warlocks are just cool. Like creepy cool. Also, the diversity of warlocks is quite compelling, but you can also have a diversity of caster classes as well, depending on what your specialization and background is. So, yeah, casters in general are really great. I'm just passionate about all D&D classes, really. Even druids. Yeah, please. I never knew about the Atropal working on Forgotten Realms. So glad that I watched the episode to get a better idea on them. Yeah, they are pretty awful, and they have been in Forgotten Realms for sure. So yeah, Thay is a hive, a hotspot of undead. Well, yeah, you can wreck a high level party with sufficiently clever traps and tricks and things, but you can also slow your game down to a crawl with that sort of thing as well. But I don't know, it's all how you run it, and really it depends on what your players want to play as well. Should a low-level wizard interact with their teacher, and if so, how should the teacher be brought in? Absolutely. I love the idea that, like, if you have a Points of Light campaign, the wizard's tower is a bastion in the wilderness, which is a place where somebody can go and get resupplied and re-equipped and stuff. And wizards quite often will not sweat mundane items and things that need restocking. They can just conjure them up. Or they trade them with somebody, or they've got stuff just lying around because they've finished their adventuring days, and oh look, I've got a pack of 10 patrons right here. And the way that wizards are supposed to work in the game is not like when you reach 6th level you just instantly know spells. You're not a cleric. You have to learn those spells. So when you reach the appropriate level where you can get extra spells, presumably in the story you'll have somewhere that your wizard character can go and pick up those spells or get them, and they get them through the advancement of wizard kind. Generally they've got to prove that, like if you look at the character Rastlin from Dragonlance, that's very much a wizard school of very harsh conditions where you have to prove your worth in order to get that magical power, and it's brutal on Raceland, and he gets messed up permanently because of the trials and things that he goes through. He gets corrupted. Is it possible to like possess a beholder and just live out the rest of your days in its body? I don't know. No. No. Not in my campaign, buddy. Yeah, it's one of those things. Like if you're asking me if something is possible, usually my answer will be whatever you want to do at your table is your choice. You do you. As for me, no, beholders are too weird. Like you'd go crazy if you try to possess a beholder's body. All of a sudden you've got 10 eye stalks feeding optical information to your brain. Try and get a handle on that. That would be very hard to do. That'd be like walking around with 10 monitors moving around in different directions and stuff, and you've got to pay attention to all of them at once. It's very difficult. G'day. Maybe in 3.5. Maybe. Are you sure you want to do that? Easy, exactly. Are you sure you want to possess the beholder? I mean, there is a reason why they call them Lords of Madness, because insanity kind of goes with aberrations. It's kind of the point. If anybody has any questions on the Discord, please post them. Fight a roper. I love ropers. Ropers are a great starting fight for an adventure. If they don't kill people, that is. Because you can definitely kill people with a party of ropers. What is your top 5 monsters you mentioned in your last video? I was talking about the top 5 most horrific monsters. So Dracoliches are pretty bad. Bodaks scare the bejesus out of me. The Atropal, of course, is definitely in the top 5. What else? The way that I play zombies is also particularly gross. Particularly when you've got a party of zombies that are approaching some player characters and the zombies rip apart another zombie to use the thigh bones and stuff from it as a dagger. That's pretty nasty. Or club people to death with parts of their zombie companion which are still twitching. And trolls can be pretty horrific as well. Like the regeneration powers of a troll. That's something amazing. And gibbering mouths have got to be in the top 5 of most horrific monsters. Particularly if you describe them correctly. All demons, you can make them very horrific, yeah. For sure. They are horrible. That's true. What's your favourite inner plane and why? Well, it's got to be the Elemental Chaos. Clearly. The Elemental Chaos is just so incredibly rich place to run adventures. Thoughts on the Infernal Machine of Lom the Mad? Cool find. I'm not familiar with that one. Gave me an idea for an adventure where a celestial matron of some sort petitions the party to save her baby that was ripped from her by Mephistopheles, or perhaps Grast. Gross. For sure. Just hit level 7 Warlock and thinking of picking up Summon Greater Demon. Know any cool lore about Baal Guras? Actually, I do. I should make a video on those guys. Yeah. They were kind of like an advancement of something that already existed in an outer plane. So there's different versions of Baal Guras. How do you work traveling between the planes, like from the Hells to Mechanus? Well, if you're doing it on the cheap, you can travel along the River Styx and the River Oceanus, which form a great big circuit around all of the planes. You can hitch a ride on the Modron March, or you can just take pre-existing doorways to get to Sigil, and from Sigil bargain your way to get to where you need to go. It's probably one of the best ways. Undead trolls. Yep. Mountain trolls. What do you mean undead can't have regeneration? Of course they can. In fact, the Atropals basically got a version of regeneration. They regenerate through the death of others. Yeah, campaign hub like Sigil is probably the best if you want to have a galaxy hopping adventure. Doing my world version of the Olympic Games, high fantasy, richest city in the world, big arena attracts from all the realm, etc. Got ideas for events? Do you have any ideas? Certainly, I've got nothing but ideas. Nice one, Daz. You could have wrestling matches with jungle gorillas. You could have something like a Quidditch match, but instead of the little flying thingy, it could be a fairy. Yeah, things like that. Competitions where you have to see through illusions. Sigil is within the plane. It's sort of at the center of the plane of neutrality. That's the Outlands. And the Outlands borders on everywhere, so you can actually crisscross between the planes by traveling through the Outlands. And the Outlands have these border towns which have properties of both the Outlands and the plane that you're going into. So yeah, that's quite an interesting adventure location as well. House Hunters, the monsters that, not the show. Have you ever used them in game? No, I've never seen House Hunters. What edition are they from? A fiendish Uber. Hobbits is a soccer ball. Oh, don't be mean to hobbits. Conquers Realm Mag Touré and learn of all of its portals. Yeah. Do I have a favorite non-unique demon? What about devils? let's see. I like Pale Knight's critters, the retrievers who hunt other things through the outer planes. Those are pretty cool. Yeah, just lots. I like all of them. They're really great. Still working my group through Princess Apocalypse. How could I go about having the players find out the Elder Eye is Tharizdun? Would this be info on the Candlekeep, do you think? Probably not. It's a really well kept secret. Like the gods hid that information. So you're talking about something that Vecna would know and try and keep secret from. So maybe infiltrate a cult of Vecna would be my idea. Glazier, daughter of Asmodeus, ruler of Melbog, not technically a god, but since she's technically the daughter of one, what does that make her? That makes her exactly what she was originally. She was born before he became a god. So yeah, she's not. She's just a devil lord, essentially. 3.5. House hunters are a type of mimic. Ah, okay. So they become the house, a really giant mimic. Players' version of the show House Hunters, except houses are mimics. And here we have a box, a lockbox. Advanced D&D 2nd edition monster manual. Oh, okay. Any info on IOs you'd be willing to divulge? Pretty much. I covered a lot of IOs when I was talking about Vecna, actually, I think. But he's Greyhawk, and I don't really concentrate a lot on Greyhawk. Die Vecna Die has got a lot of information on IOs. That's probably my best. That would probably be your best resource to look up information on IOs. Bone Devils and Chain Devils, yeah. The Marilith. Oh yeah, Marilith. They're probably one of the scariest melee creatures that you go up against, really. The Marilith. Just for sheer too many arms. Yeah. Erinny's pretty cool. Erinny's. Yeah, hi to you. I would like to thank you for all you put. Oh, thanks a lot. All of this wonderful D&D. Thanks, Brandon. You're most welcome. You should do a video on Thistler and his many creations. I know you did one of them already. Go from small to large. Outhouse, shed, house, manor, castle. A mimic castle. Good grief. Oh, do you think that Drow could end up allying with and possibly worshipping a green dragon? I think the Drow might view the dragon as Loth's venom, with the dragon suggesting the idea, of course. Well, green dragons are manipulators, so if that happened, for sure. So they would basically manipulate the Drow into worshipping them. But of course, Loth is a very jealous goddess, so that dragon would have to have protection against Loth before it even attempted to do so. Unless it gathered a cabal of male Drow who have escaped the matriarchal society of the Drow, perhaps. That could be a way, so they gain protection by the green dragon in exchange for basically being its slaves. Not Ioun, Ious. Ion is a completely different. She's a goddess. Ious is an evil person from Greyhawk who's become a god. Oh, I see. Ioun is a source of information about Tharizdun. For sure, she was around during the Dawn War, so I don't see why not. So the gods would know. So you could perhaps petition a god who would send you on some sort of a very deadly quest and reveal to you information about Tharizdun. Of course, Asmodeus also knows all about Tharizdun because he was set up as the guardian of Asmodeus's of Tharizdun's tomb, his crystal prison, which is really a doorway. So Asmodeus would know. But of course, Asmodeus doesn't want anybody to know about Tharizdun anyway. In a strange way, he's still obligated to protect reality. He is lawful after all. Oh, I see. It's like a more random deck of many things. Yeah, I've really got to get my my edition, my deck. I'm going to try and get this transcribed down onto a home brewery PDF because it's all written notes at the moment. Pretty much a whole book worth on what each card does. So hopefully I can get that sorted at some stage. Oh, you're welcome, Zonoff. Hey Ian, why aren't you running a game today? No pressure. Mimic outhouse. Yeah, that's nasty. Yeah, a ghost town. Like, it's strangely in the middle of a forest with these uncut trees and things. For sure. Well, nobody's asking me any questions on the Discord. I blame you, Das. Actually, the Orange Dragon video is kind of simple in a way because their stats are essentially exactly the same as an adult Blue Dragon. Mainly it's just the different attitude, environment and breath weapon that they have which sets them apart. Because, I mean, they're quite opposite to an adult Blue Dragon. But again, it's one of those dragon types which comes into conflict with other dragons that live in swampy conditions. So you could say they're more river dragons than the black dragons are. Yeah, I always thought that about mimics as well. They grow as they eat. Oh, right, Wellington for the board games weekend and the Muppets Orchestra. Ah. Nice. I'm still waiting for that script, Ian. Part 1. Watching a video about Warhammer Orcs and decided to add them to the first campaign I'm running, but planning to have them as the centerpiece of the middle of the second arc. Tips or thoughts? Basically what I said in the video, you can escalate them as the players pay attention to them. Otherwise they just stay in the background, just bubbling along at the level that you left them. That way it can be an effective side plot or secondary quest because you're removing the immediacy of an escalation. So the players will come to expect that it will only get worse the more they get involved. So unless it's been like ages and ages and you say, hey, what about the orcs? And the guys are just like, then it can escalate. But yeah, having it as something which they encounter on the side, so it's like a background effect. It's a random encounter that they meet every now and then, and they're encountering as they go up in level from their quest that they're following. They can encounter stronger and stronger orc problems until eventually they decide, look, we've got to tackle this head on because it's starting to impact our adventure because we can't restock because the town just got ripped apart by orcs, or that wizard that we're trying to get spells from, he's dead because orcs killed him. So now it's like, right, we're going to take the fight to these orcs and deal with it once and for all. Don't worry about spell checks, Ian. Man, you should read some of my scripts. Terrible spelling. Oh, so you're doing this by the book, Ian. Interesting. I might have a link for you, my friend. Hang on, I'll send it to you now. Be prepared though, this link will blow your mind. Okay, there you go. Check your Facebook Messenger, Ian. Your party has slogged through the mega dungeon, and after defeating the final file, you learn that the entire thing was a colossal mimic. Roll initiative. Nasty. You kill the Atropol and then the bad guy shows up. Man, it's like the worst kick in the guts at the end of that adventure. Do you plan on doing any more videos about the demon lords of the abyss, such as Dagon, Zugtmoy, or Juiblix? Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to cover a lot of those. There's a lot of demons and devils and things that I haven't covered yet, so I want to do those as well as the abominations, which we're getting into at the moment with the Tarrasque. I didn't realize at first that the Tarrasque is actually an abomination, but it is, as is the Atropol, and plus we've got these other, there's like 3 other abominations which are covered. But I might do a general video on how to create something which is an abomination. But you know me, I'll talk about it, but it'll appear when it appears. Absolutely. So if you check your Facebook Messenger, Ian. Yeah, I was waiting for that reaction. It's everything. Everything. I know. You never saw that from me. Of all the creatures with less than 5 intelligence must chase attack you. All creatures, what? Creatures with less than 10 intelligence must succeed will chase you as well. Maybe. In ancient medieval times, that was all the night water and night waste and stuff were used in industry. It was an important ingredient, like urine, for instance, was used for making linen, bleaching linen. So it was very important. Horrible, but true. So you can imagine what old cities used to smell like. Oh, leather tanning was awful smell. Yeah, I want to increase my output of aquatic monsters as well, so that I can make a playlist for people who are running aquatic adventures, and just generally talk about the environment and the rules that we have for underwater adventures and things, and how to make it an easy environment to handle in the game, because it's kind of intimidating, isn't it? You're like, whoa, what do I put in there and stuff? But yeah, traveling on the water is interesting, and traveling under the water is interesting, and it's such a yeah. And I know on the one hand you think, well, the world is mostly covered in ocean, there must be heaps of adventures and things, but in actual fact, most of the world's oceans, the dominant environment is the abyssal depths, which is basically just crushing cold, and a endless plain of mud is essentially what it's like, dark and muddy and horrible. It's only really when you get close to coastal waters and things, or you come across volcanoes in the seafloor that rise up. And as they start to approach levels where light touches them, that's when life sort of explodes on those seamounts, which is where all of the fish species concentrate. So, much like 4th edition Dungeons & Dragons, the ocean operates on a points of light adventure system. What were your last 2 comments? Sorry. Oh, do you think it's a good idea for a Wild Magic Surge expansion? You turn into a wheel of cheese, AC 13, speed 35 foot. The only actions you take are move and dash. Wild Magic turns you into a huge wheel of cheese, and you get chased by monsters. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Roll to flee or crush. You got to have some sort of a stench attack as well. It's like Stilton. Oh, and you shed rot grubs. Nice. The ocean is big and huge, and you gotta imagine that it's full of stuff that the gods and things just threw in there to get rid of. So it's got to be full of prisons and old tombs and like the flying mountains of the Netherese. There might have been one traveling across the ocean and basically landed almost intact in the ocean. So that'd be interesting. It'll be a city under the water. Mm. Yeah, for sure. Tome of Beasts, it's got a lot of aquatic stuff in there, a lot of fae and a lot of aquatic stuff. It really covers a lot of the gaps, which is great. Whole castle is a mimic. Ocean floor is a mimic. Man. Yeah, that is what Carceria is for sure. I mean, it might be for lesser threats. Carceria was for threats that could destroy gods and primordials, like go one-on-one with a god and kill it. You know, so plate armor mimic. Ouch. Yeah, you could use an ancient prismatic dragon as a warlock patron for sure. They probably wouldn't pay a lot of attention to the warlock. It would just be some means. It'd be like if you logged into a website which allowed you to look at a webcam from wherever the webcam currently is. That would kind of be like it, in a way. That would be the benefit that they would get. And occasionally they might say, "Hey, can you go over in that direction and investigate this?" So they might give you a lead in for an adventure or something like that, which has got something they're interested in finding out, but they don't necessarily make you privy to what their plans are or what their interests are. Or it may be completely benign, might just be history or lore or nostalgia. Material plane is a mimic. Neutronium golem. Sigil is a mimic. Sigil is a mimic. X-poison mimic. No! Everything's I'm a mimic. The entire moon's become a mimic. A tropal is a mimic. The universe is a mimic. The prime material plane is a mimic. The far realm's a mimic. Ooh. Well, the abyss is alive. That's been established. The abyss is a mimic. The next comment is a mimic and you post an unhappy face. That's so fitting. Yeah, everything is a mimic, but they don't realize they're mimics. Alright, enough with the mimic jokes. Still no comments on Discord. Yes, your dog too. Anyway. So, here's an interesting thing. This is the original Boggle. May possibly be related to the Will-O-Wisp Boggle. And yeah, there's also a lot of mushroomy type creatures. I want to do a really comprehensive set of videos on fungus things in D&D as well. Well, here we go. A question. What god is your favorite? Palor. Palor is pretty cool. Bokob. I like Bokob. Do you wish there are more CR30 creatures? No, I don't. What exactly makes an Eladrin different from elves, since they both seem a bit fey? And what caused them to separate as a group? Lore, story. The Eladrin stayed behind to repair damage to the Feywild from the war that was fought by the elves. And it is a fugly little dweeb. And so the Eladrin are the elves that stayed behind. They're the original form of the elves, if you want, if you will. They can still interbreed, so they're not separate species. And the elves became naturalized, so they lost a lot of their connection to the Fey world, and they split into different groups. Some of them have got more of an arcane focus, but some of them always did. Like if you watch the D&D Beyond talk, they talk about how the elves, when they were spiritual entities, focused on different aspects of creation, kind of like portfolios of the gods, if you will. So you've got moon elves and star elves and things like that, different types of light that they focused on. And that has also influenced the way that they've developed magical powers, things like that, and where they go. So you've got different types of Eladrin, you've got different types of elves. Yeah, Uncle Touchy. Disney. Yeah, the story of He Who Was. That's a 4th edition thing, so a lot of people don't like it, but I think it's captivating. The fact that there's a lost god of humanity somewhere. Yeah, there were lots of mimic jokes. Yeah, you could do that with the Green Dragon's regional fog. Fog out an entire island, like Fallout 4. Yep. A cult worshipping the dragon. Yeah. Don't forget that the dragon could have strange proclivities of its own. So they could be worshipping a dragon which worships Dagon. So the dragon could have unusual cleric-like regional effects as well. Like everything tastes like fish. Yeah, the Spelljammers is the ships of Spelljammers is my next planned video, and then after that I'll probably do more on the species of Spelljammer. For instance, the amoeboid species that kind of looks like a gibbering mouther, but they are an actual species that uses technology and stuff. And of course the hippo men. Everybody loves the hippo men. I'm gonna have to find that picture, Common Retarder. There's some really spacey looking mind flayers in the early editions as well. Corn on the Bokob. Oh, you got a D&D comic. Nice. Also, happy birthday, Mike. Are there any other not able named vampires besides Strahd? No one near as famous as Strahd, as far as I know. There's a few vampires that have been in the lore, like for instance that Tropal that I was talking about, the named one, got killed by a vampire minion of his. She managed to kill him. What's the worst enemy of a necromancer? That would be a cleric of Palor. Also, the clerics and followers of the Raven Queen, even warlocks of the Raven Queen, would be enemies of necromancers. D&D in the Elder Scrolls setting, yeah, why not? I'd love to play D&D in the Magic the Gathering settings as well. Dagon is a Oberynth, one of the original Oberynths that came through, Oberynths, sorry, I keep pronouncing it wrong. Oberynths that came through from the alternate dimension, who has basically been a powerful primeval god of the oceans and evil things. Basically very Lovecraftian right from the outset of D&D. Horror out of Innsmouth and things like that is a Dagon sort of thing. If you think like ultimate horror squid monster god, then that's Dagon. Oh, it is? Oh, good. Okay. Sweet. Do you think a group of necromancers and a lich could raise an undead army to defeat an orc warg? Is it? Well, I was planning on having this happen and let the players decide how they feel about it. Yeah, for sure. Replacing, fighting evil with evil, fire with fire sort of thing. Or fire with cold, or fire with necromancy. For sure. And then, of course, you've got an extremely powerful undead host on your hands, which could be even worse. Yeah, get on it, Wizards of the Coast. We have spoken. Alright, everybody. Final questions. Got to wrap it up today. Lots to do. Unstoppable first person movable object. So I've got, yeah, the Orange Dragons coming up. I'm going to do a video on Genasi. That was a patron request. And some other stuff. Spelljammer movie. Spelljammer video as well. I should note those down. I'm also working on some artwork for t-shirts that you guys can buy if you're so inclined. If you just want to support this poor starving artist. My last day at my lab job is on the 23rd this coming month, so slightly nervous about my upcoming income. I may get real thin. Oh, that one. Jeez, that's not that. That's, oh, okay. Yeah, that's a gross image. I like it. Thanks, Sanju. Can werebears be bad guys? Absolutely. Benign lich. Well, like, liches is, they're kind of evil because of what they are. You can have Bale Norns, which are good, or at least neutral elven liches. Otherwise, just have something like a white or something like that. White. Fish and chips, Ian. Thank you. I think I missed a comment there. Don't feel sorry for the Obriths. They destroyed their own universe, and they're trying to destroy the D&D one as well. They're not good. Oh yeah, I should really do a video on Pazuzu as well. Somebody was asking me about that. Beautiful Horrors D&D 5e supplement. There's ideas for vampire variants, some weaker than others, and many unique approaches to the vampire creature. Great. How does someone play a patron that is so alien that humans can't think like it? Make its will hard to interpret, and it just randomly punishes them for stuff that they don't understand. Probably the best way. So roll on pick a list of common things, like a can of beans or a rusty copper sword or something like that, and when they encounter something like that, their patron goes crazy about it for some reason. Just little weird things, weird quirks they don't quite understand, but they start to pick up on things, like come up with a set of rules that they need to follow which just don't make any sense to anybody else. So they're the only ones that really understand it. Nice. Gibbering mouther or gibbering mouthing? Gibbering mouther. Okay. Of course, they can pronounce it both ways because they have more than one mouth. Hey, Crimson Wolf. Visit me. In New Zealand? No. That's okay, Connor. You can catch me next week. Mephistopheles, yeah. He's another Elder Evil. Another Lord of Destruction. Although not so much a Lord of Destruction. He's more like a Lord of Schmooze. No. They introduced the idea of the universe being flawed. So there being crossover between the universes where previously they were supposed to be sealed off. So you could say they punched a hole in the universe, and they punched a hole in many others with the Abyss. So it's literally bored a hole straight through the D&D universe, and each layer of the Abyss is boring a hole into pocket planes and pocket dimensions, alternate worlds, things like that, other dimensions as well. So layers of the abyss can go on infinitely. They can be different universes. Tome of Beasts, yeah. 100 Fae? Really? It's got 100. Oh yeah, for sure. I think I've already brought some stuff from Tome of the Beasts. But yeah, I should do more. With enough castings of the clone spell, could a spellcaster become effectively immortal? Kind of like Voldemort from Harry Potter. Yeah. Can you only make a phylactery when you're dead? Yes. There was a wizard who did that, made lots of clones of himself. He's in my famous wizards video, I think. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna go get to work. That's just physics. Seems like every other monster is a Fae. Does kind of. Ah, okay. You can make a younger body with clone. Yeah, I'd like to, X. Lots of lore stuff. So much to do. So much to do. I almost envy these other channels who go, I don't know what content to put out. I just got too much. It's always been my problem. Almost too much information to cover. But I'll get to them. I'll get to them eventually. I just got to keep making lists and churn my way through it. Thanks, everybody. Very nice chatting with you all, as usual. Don't forget to join up on the Discord. And I'll catch you again in the next video. See you later.